Hello, everyone. This is 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍𝐊, Register Migration Agent at 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍 Consultants. Today's our live is basically on trade or TRA qualification or skill assessment. Before we proceed, we shall wait for some time until I'll just turn on the disclaimer. And as soon as we get more audiences, then we shall start with the formal live. All right, welcome back. I'll try to make this session in English along with the Urdu or Hindi because we have lots of viewers from Pakistan and India, and I would like you to, everyone should understand what exactly the TR skill assessment process is, how we gonna apply for this one, who exactly require this skill assessment, and all the nitty-gritties. So it'll go one by one. First of all, what exactly the skill assessment is. So basically, the skill assessment is the first stage to apply for any general skill migration. So if you have done a qualification and you have relevant experience, or in certain cases where you have specific qualification, you need to apply through one of the skill assessment body to get a skill assessment outcome. That outcome will help you out to launch the general skill migration. So it can be a temporary visa, it can be a permanent visa, but ultimately the TRA is the body for trade recognition Australia. So all trade occupation fall under TRA mainly. So if you are a plumber, or if you are a electrician, or you have done carpentry, chef, cook, all comes under the TRA. So I've just turned on the topic as well, the TRA, Trade Qualification Skill Assessment. So see, if you have a qualification in Australia, then probably you would be needing the TRA Job Ready Program pathway. So we mainly would be discussing on the Job Ready Program pathway today. I'll be going from the scratch. So those who are really wanted to apply for a TRA under the provisional skill assessment and then the job ready employment and the program can listen to this live very carefully, because I'll be giving all the insight from the scratch till the end. So if you really wanted to apply for a trade or qualification or the skill assessment, you can do so. So first of all, the TRA has couple of streams for the skill assessment. The number one, the first, the foremost, the most the famous one or the known one is the Job Ready Program. So Job Ready Program is divided into two parts. One is called the Provisional Skill Assessment Program, and then there is a Job Ready Program that includes a Job Ready Employment, Assessment, Work Placement, and at the end they give you the outcome. So those who are applying for TR, because what happens, like if you are under a trade category and you wanted to apply for the TR, you should lodge a provisional skill assessment first in order to meet the TR requirement. TR means temporary residency 485. So mainly those who wanted to apply under the graduate stream, which is like either you have been in Australia on your first visa prior to 5th November 2011, or recently you have done only a trade qualification, then you would be needing a provisional skill assessment in order to apply for the TR. Also, those like similar to like people who have done masters, but concurrently they are doing the trade qualification, and now they wanted to apply for PR based on the trade qualification, can also follow this pathway, because it's one of the easiest and the quickest pathway to get the degree assessment done. Because generally, if you are a recent graduate, and if you don't have much experience, then ultimately the TRA requires you to at least have 3 years of full-time experience, which cannot be possible as a recent graduate. So generally, you go with the job ready program pathway in order to meet the requirement. So let's start with that one. So TRA, the first thing is the provisional skill assessment. The cost is $300. So you need to pay TRA $300 in order to apply for this skill assessment. Now the provisional skill assessment, the good part is they have now, they have now, segregate all the process to an online portal. You don't need to send any certified documents via post or hard copies to TRA. Everything needs to be uploaded. It's quite easy and a basic process, but there are some complications, some important stuff you need to do. Otherwise, you fall under, you might get into trouble or you might get into the complications. The first thing is you must have at least 360 hours of experience that needs to be paid one. Or if you are doing a trade qualification in Australia, and the work placement is a part of your skill assessment, then you should at least have that experience. Minimum requires 360 hours. So if you have 360 hours, then TRA will accept your application. The first and the foremost thing that you need to make sure you have all the information, each and every documents, because what the TRA policy is, they don't request you for the documentation. So they immediately gonna refuse the application if you don't submit the documentation properly after the lodgement. So generally you have couple of hours to upload all the documents. Now let's come to the documents, because lots of my clients ask me that what documents you require in order to go with the provisional skill assessment, no matter you're doing the TR application or you're going through the PR pathway through a trade qualification. First and the foremost, the most important documentation is the evidence of income. So you should have at least 360 hours of paid evidence. That can be pay slips, bank statements, tax documents, your superannuation statement. So out of these 3 or 4, you require at least 2 in order to meet the requirement. Say if you have pay slips, then you can show the notice of tax assessment, or pay slips are enough for the provisional skill assessment. But we normally ask our clients to give us an additional document, so TRA won't ask for anything. Now, the second important document is the reference letter. Being a registered migration agent, we do have lots of samples. So we do help our clients with the sample experience letters so they can show to the employer, because generally employers, they're really busy. They don't have time to write a content, but obviously they know the job responsibilities. So what we do normally, we send you the sample or the draft experience letter, and then your employer review it, make the changes, and then at the end they sign on the letterhead and furnish back to us. So normally an experience letter must have dates, from which date to which date you have done that 360 hours experience. It can be more. Now, one more thing, if you have a skill assessment or you have the experience from one or more than one employer, that is also acceptable. So it's not just like that you should only need to get 360 hours of experience from one employer, but it can be multiple employers as well. For instance, if you have done 100 hours from A employer, then another 100 hours from B employer, and from the C employer you have done 160 hours. So altogether you can merge to get the 360 hours of experience, but then you must need to submit all the paid evidences of all 3 employers along with their reference or experience letter on their letterheads. Now, experience letter should have ABN number on that one, the phone number, email ID, and your supervisor name and designation. That needs to be there on that letter. Generally, the letterhead would contain these all information, but if your employer have a generic or a quite basic letterhead, he must need to put all the information in his signature, or when they are signing the letter, they should mention all these information. But ABN, company name and phone number, is really important. And obviously you need to have an email ID if they need to do a verification. So these are the important stuff for the experience letter. The third is the qualification. So normally the TRA requires certificate 3 That is the minimum requirement to apply for a provisional skill assessment. In some cases, they do require Cert 4, but if you have 1 year of Cert 3, you are eligible to apply for PSA, subject to if you have 360 hours of experience, along with whatever the documents I have just told you. Now, lots of people do ask me, do we need to get an experience after the Cert 3, or it can be during the qualification? So the easiest answer is that you can do the experience while you're doing the Certificate 3. So you don't need to wait for the Cert 3 to be finished, or the relevant qualification to be finished. You can still do the job. You can do in a bits or pieces. It doesn't need to be 20 hours per week or part-time. You can do like 5 hours in a week. Next week you can do a couple of more hours. So you have plenty of time. At least a 1 year you have it to make the 360 hours of experience. So if you collect all the the work hours, you can make it to 360 hours, and that can be used for the TRA skill assessment. We are talking about the stage 1 provisional skill assessment. So these are the 3 important documentation you needed. Once you have that one, then I told you that PSA skill assessment fee is $300. That can be paid through online while you're filling the application form. Once you finish each and everything, and at the time of submission, they'll ask you for the payment, just like the visa fee we do it to Department of Immigration. They normally ask for the MasterCard or Visa card. I'm not pretty sure about the American Express, but you can definitely check on that one. So the TRA website is Trade Recognition Australia .gov.au. So if you go there, there is an icon at the top of that page. You can click on that one, click on the online portal, and you can start register yourself for provisional skill assessment. I'll show you quickly, so at least you have an idea that what exactly I'm talking about. Just give me a sec. All right. So if you can see here, this one, this is the online portal. So if you click on the online portal, you'll able to register yourself for a job ready program. So this one, we are talking about the job ready program only at this stage. We are not discussing on any other streams. There are other streams where if you don't have a proper qualification or you belong to a certain country, then you should select one of these other options, the drop down options here. But right now we're talking about only a job ready program where you have studied in Australia, and now you're planning to apply for TI and permanent residency based on the Australian ongoing job. So once you do a job ready program registration, click on register, fill up the whole form, and then you can start filling up the information, upload the documents. If you feel like you're stuck somewhere or it's quite complicated, you should hire a registered migration agent. So you can always contact to 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍𝐊 consultants. All our information are in the ticker. If you can see, you can call us, email us. We are more than happy to provide you the provisional skill assessment, processing, consultation. We're pretty flexible. We are very, we have, almost around, whatever the application we have submitted so far in last 5 years, they all have got the success. We have done lots of cases where there are lots of complexity, like lots of people have got refused for the provisional skill assessment. We have reapplied for them, and ultimately we got the positive outcome. So if you know anybody who is struggling with the provisional skill assessment, they are unable to apply, you should contact 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍𝐊 consultants. I'm more than happy to assist them, getting them on track. This provisional skill assessment, again, I'll repeat, is for not only for TR applicants, but also for those who are going with the trade pathway. Right now, it's a trend that lots of people are doing master concurrent studies, or those who are on a TR with post-study work rights. They are also going into trade qualification. They all need to listen to this live, because I'm openly giving all the insight how to apply for provisional skill assessment, how to work out on your skill assessment if you don't if you want to do it by yourself. But as I said, highly recommended you should contact a register migration agent, because there are other important stuff you need to look. You can't miss. As I told you, if you miss a single document or information incorrect, TRA straight away refuses your application. So they don't give you any sort of an opportunity to, response to their refusal. You have to relodge it, and $300 too meta. So better you hire a registered migration agent in order to do that. So we'll summarize the stage one again. 3 documents: qualification, minimum cert 3, experience, and 360 hours of paid experience. Experience can be from multiple employer, but you need to have documents from all, employers who are using for the provisional skill assessment. Now, there's a processing time of at least 2 months. So you need to make sure that at least you lodge an application if you're lodging a TR, because you can wait for the outcome later on. You just need to put the reference number into your TR application. But say if you're not going for the TR, you already have a post-study work right, or you already have a TR, then give at least 2 months. Now, the next stage is called the job-ready employment, and that is very important. So for the job-ready employment, you must need to register your employer with TRA as early as possible, because I've seen lots of people, they have delayed their registration, because whatever the work you have done after the provisional skill assessment can be counted towards a job-ready employment. So say if you have done like 100 hours, you haven't done the full time as yet, but still that 100 hours would count towards your job-ready employment. So that's very important. Lots of people miss that 3 months, because you can always, claim that 3 months prior skills or experience when registering yourself for job-ready employment. But the provisional skill assessment 360 hours are not the part of that 3 years prior experience, the 3 months prior experience. So say if you have done a provisional skill assessment, then you have wait for another 3-4 months in order to get yourself for a job-ready employment. The 3 months in between the gap which you have, and you've been working with XYZ employer, you can count those experience. You need to submit your information to TRA. Maximum they allow you to change 3 employers. After that, they do charge you. So there are extra charges if you go with the 4th or the 5th employer. But say switching employer can be done, but you need to well inform the TRA prior to switching the employer. Another important question lots of people do ask, that do we need to have the same employer for the TRA provisional skill assessment for the job ready employment? So no, you can change the employer after your provisional skill assessment. Doesn't need to be the same employer, but if the employer is same, it's going to be easier for you to process whole thing. But again, if you switch the employer, even it's pretty easier. So you don't need to worry about that part. It's only that wherever you're comfortable, because job ready employment, you must need to have an employer who can give you at least full-time work. So minimum 35 hours per week is required for the job ready employment. As I told you, the previous 3 months employment you can do part-time, or if you don't have work, if you haven't worked for full-time, that's perfectly fine. But when you enrolling yourself for a job ready employment, you must need to have the full working rights, and your employer must give you full full-time job. You can have 2 employers. So ultimately, if you going with the 2 employers together for the job ready employment, then one employer can give you 20 hours, other can give you another 15-16. That can be done as well. So you can segregate between 2 employers as well. Depend completely on your circumstances. So once you apply for a job ready employment, then you need to start working with the employer. Now the very important part is that you need to submit quarterly skill reports. They call the skill reports SRP something, and for that they will ask you lots of questions. So there is a complete report you can download from the TRA website. You need to submit that skill report to TRA in order to see that how much you have done so far, how much skills you have gone through. And once they see each and everything, there would be a liaison officer who will be going through all your documentation, and then they normally update your TRA portal. Now, another question normally comes with the client, and client normally they panic that TR is not updating their portal. That happens to almost each of the applicant these days. You don't need to worry about anything. As far as you have submitted the online application, you have submitted all the documents online, you need to give time to the TRA. They will get back to you. In case of if you feel like there is some doubt and TRA hasn't got your documents, not possible. If you check your online portal, you'll find all the documents out there, so you don't need to worry about that part. Just wait for the TRA to get back to you, or otherwise you can email them. So pretty easy, you can email them to their TRA inquiries email ID. They will get back to you. You must need to put your reference number, but generally TRA takes time. It's not like they will update your hours straight away to your portal. It may take 4 months, 5 months, even sometimes we have seen 8 months. After 8 months, they have updated, their hours into the portal. But you need to make sure that they're asking for a quarterly SP report, skill report, SR, or they ask for 6 monthly, the skill report. You need to submit that one timely. They won't be asking you. They might not be emailing you. Along with the skill report, you must need to put the evidences. So you need to create a one PDF, all the pay slips in ascending order, and you need to upload that onto a TRA portal. TRA portal is quite easy. They will give you all the prompts. So you just need to upload the documents where they have requested and submit. Another thing, if in between you have change of address or any change of circumstances, you must submit a change of circumstances form, or there is an updated details form on the TRA website. You can submit that one. Now, for the cost wise, JRE costs you $500. So you need to pay at least $500 for the JRE. That's the second stage. That is also online. So you need to submit the online application for JRE. Third stage is like after 6-7 months, they'll ask you for a job ready workplace assessment. That's called JRWA. That time they will ask you to make the payment 2,000 and wait for the license officer to give you a specific date for an interview. So at that interview, it can be online, it can be at the face-to-face at the workplace. Due to the COVID situation, most of the interviews, the JRW, sorry, I beg your pardon, JRWA, you need to give the interview online. It's pretty easy. The interview, they will ask you a couple of questions. They will speak to your employer as well. And I have seen 99.9% of the applicants have passed this test quite easily. So the interview and the test is pretty easy. You don't need to panic. You just need to know what exactly you have submitted in your skill reports, and the similar information they will request you to perform, or they will ask you, and you need to give them information one by one. Your employer can assist you at the time of test. Generally, the license officer do coordinate with your employer as well, so it's pretty easy. You can always rely on your employer in such circumstances, because this will make this stage 3 quite easy. Then the last stage would be the job ready final assessment. For the final assessment, they require you to submit the rest of the evidences like pay slips or job the skill report. Once you submit that one, they will give you an outcome. Generally, the stage 4, then again the registered migration agent can assist you submitting those documents, requests to the TRA to give you the quick the final outcome letter, because that outcome letter you will use for your general skill migration or permanent residency. So until and unless your stage 4 is not done, you don't have the outcome letter, the full outcome letter of the final skill assessment. Prior to that, you cannot apply the trade. You cannot go with the trade pathway, PR pathway, because this is the most important document you would be needing it. Now, lots of people do ask me, can I claim that 1 year experience which I have done with the TRA at in the job ready program? Yes, you can. Since you are doing 35 hours per week for continuous for a 1 year, altogether you need to do 1,725 hours. So if you have finished the 725 hours, basically the 1 year experience. So you can claim that one to your general skill migration points. You can also use that one to meet the state sponsorship requirements, where lots of state do requires the experience, hand-on experience. So you can obviously use that one. If let's take few questions, then we'll again go further with the further steps or any other critical information that the viewers or the audiences would like to ask. I'm more than happy to give the answers. So Sheikh Bilal is asking, those 360 hours of experience, the requirement, part-time jobs, side jobs are considered only the professionals are related to the field. Sheikh, say if you are a chef, if you are an auto mechanic, you must need to work as an auto mechanic, or in a chef, you can be an assistant chef, you can be a head chef, or you can be, there are lots of chef categories. But say if it's auto mechanic, then you must need to be an auto mechanic. For carpenter, you need to be a carpenter. But say part-time jobs, casual jobs, even if you do few hours in a week's time, and after you take a break and another some hours after 3-4 months, that is acceptable. So you can always consolidate all hours to make it 360, but has to be related to the field. You cannot just do it like doing a kitchen hand, or maybe doing a cleaning and claiming the chef experience cannot be done. I'm just hypothetically giving you a chef example. You can be any of the occupations, so you need to particularly write your occupation. I'm more than happy to assist you in that one. All right, so the Indian Jewelry Bollywood Style have asked, Diploma Nursing Tasmania, what is its scope for 491? Nursing has a great scope for 491 Tasmania, no doubt. But unfortunately, Tasmania, no international colleges are out there who, that offers diploma of nursing. Only the University of Tasmania and TAFE Tasmania are the ones who have nursing, but they are not for the international students. So unfortunately, diploma of nursing in Tasmania would not able to implement, because obviously if you don't have any colleges, you are not able to do a diploma of nursing. My suggestion would be to do it wherever you are at the moment, and then hope to Tasmania during your TR 485 and look for a full-time experience for 6 months in order to apply for 491190. So that is the scope you can obviously work on. Generally you would be falling under the 491, because at the moment Tasmania list doesn't have enrolled nurse. So if you are enrolled nurse and have worked in Tasmania for 6 months full-time, then you can apply for 491. It can be in an aged care sector, hospital, or anywhere. So let's go back to the topic, and then I'll take more questions as soon as they arrive. So see, as we spoke, like once you complete the stage 4, step 4 job ready final assessment, you'll get an outcome letter that will help you out lodging the expression of interest, or along with the state sponsorship application if you are applicable to any of these. Now, few of the tips and techniques. Always, if you have the experience and you feel like that this say if you have enrolled in a job ready employment, try to grab all your pay slips in one go. Like don't miss out any pay slips. Make sure the employer is giving you the pay slips. Sometimes if you are eligible for the super, do have your super statements and everything, because once a job ready program is being done, you need to submit the same thing to the Department of Immigration at the time of when they invite you and you lodge a visa application. So these all documents will help you out. And then you can use the same reference in the letter which you have taken at the time of when you finish your job ready program. Because generally TRA won't require to have a reference or experience letter, but for the immigration you need it. So it's better you take the experience letter once you finish your job ready program with that employer, because that will be required at the time of lodging your 491 or 190. So lots of people just ignore that one, and at the end they got into trouble where employer is not happy to give them, or they are not happy to verify. But if you have all the documents and everything, then department will see, and you can justify your 5 points or the job ready program stuff you have done it. Otherwise, department may penalize you as well. So there are lots of stuff you need to remember. It's not just that you need to do a work for a 1 year and you get the job ready program. These all steps really counts, and especially at the end of the day, you need all the documents as well. All right, so we'll go for a short break, and then once I'll come back, I'll take more questions if audiences do have it, and then we'll take it from there. Stay tuned.
Student visa. Is it your dream to study abroad, especially in Australia? Don't worry, we are here to assist you and guide you with your study visa process. Being MARA approved professional education visa consultants, we ensure you with maximum support and supervision. Contact Think Higher Consultants.
All right, welcome back. We'll go with another short break, and after the break, I'll be touch basing on few of the other streams of the TRA skill assessment, especially the offshore skill assessment, full migration skill assessment, and even the 491 skill assessment, where lots of people do require a skill assessment if the case officer requests them for 482, or maybe if you don't have any qualification.
Professional year programs. Professional year programs are well-structured professional development programs for engineering, accounting, and IT professionals. This also leads you to an additional 5 points towards general skilled migration applications. Contact Think Higher Consultants at thinkhigher.com.au.
All right, welcome back. So let's start with the other stream. So we have covered up the job ready program, the whole from provisional skill assessment until job ready final assessment. If you have any questions, feel free to put on the comments. I'm more than happy to take the questions. We are also live on YouTube. So if you know anyone who only watches videos on YouTube, you can always share our YouTube channel. Otherwise, the Facebook, well, if you have friends, you can always share on the Facebook as well. Wherever you want, I'm more than happy to answer your comments or whatever queries you may have it. So let's go to the stream 2. That is called the Offshore Skill Assessment Program. So Offshore Skill Assessment Program has 2 streams. One stream is where you have a relevant qualification overseas, anywhere around the world, and then you have certain experience. That is stream 1. The pathway towards stream 2 is where you don't have any qualification, but you have certain amount of experience where you can get your skills or qualification. Since you don't have a qualification, it's called a skill assessment. Then TRA normally gives you a Cert 3 or Cert 4 complimentary if you go with the 𝐊𝐻𝐶 pathway. So both pathways 1, 2, TRA normally lies with few of other relevant providers like 𝐊𝐻𝐶 or William English Institute, Victoria University. So these all are the associate providers, or the helpers to the TRA, who also assess these qualifications where you don't have a formal qualification. The third stream after the so let's go with the offshore skill assessment processing stream. I'll show you on the TRA website, so you have a better idea which countries you must be residing in order to meet that offshore skill assessment program stream. So if you can see here, if you go to the programs, you'll find here the offshore skill assessment. So offshore skill assessment, I'll just give you a hint that these all occupations like air conditioning, refrigeration, mechanic, automotive, electrician, baker, so on. So you can see there are lots of occupations here. And now if you can see here, if you belong to these countries, for example, we'll take the bricklayer. And bricklayer, if you're from Brazil, China, Fiji, Hong Kong, India, Iran, Ireland, UAE, and Sri Lanka, and so on and so forth. So if you're a bricklayer, you don't have a formal qualification, but you have good work experience with all the paid evidences and everything, you can apply for an overseas offshore skill assessment program that is called OSAP. That is one of the streams which TRA do provide. Apart from that, there is another stream which is called the migration skill assessment. So, for instance, if your occupation doesn't fall under the OSAP, you are not able to do a job ready program, then you should go, you have ample experience and qualification and you don't fall under that list which I've showed you along with the countries, then you go with the migration skill assessment. So the migration skill assessment, the whole one, they require minimum 3 years of full-time experience. It has to be full-time, like 38 hours per week. If you have done 6 years of part-time experience, then you can merge that into the half of experience can uh, you know consolidate into 3 years. So that can be done, but it has to be either full time, or if you're doing 6 years and claiming 3 years, then it has to be a part-time, that's acceptable. So you can always count your part-time experience in order to make that 3 years experience. But as you said, that 6 years gonna be too much. So my personal suggestion would be that if you're offshore and you're really eyeing to apply for a migration skill assessment and you don't fall under that list where the certain countries and the occupations are there, then you should make sure that you at least have 38 hours per week with full-time experience with all the paid evidences. So these are all three streams which we have spoken. What we can do next time when जब मैं ये live करूँगा, so what I'll do, I'll just make sure that we'll touch on other 2 3 streams in very uh, or in a detailed manner. Now, for viewers who are from India, Pakistan, or who do understand Hindi and Urdu, मैं अपने लाइव सेशन को सम अप कर देता हूँ इस लैंग्वेज में भी, ताकि एटलीस्ट जो व्यूअर्स हैं वो समझ सकें. तो आज हमने जो TRA स्किल असेसमेंट के बारे में जो लाइव किया है, ये मेनली जो है वो वन ऑफ द स्ट्रीम्स दैट्स कॉल्ड जॉब रेडी प्रोग्राम. जॉब रेडी प्रोग्राम में दो पार्ट्स हैं. पहला पार्ट जो होता है वो कहलाता है प्रोविजनल स्किल असेसमेंट. प्रोविजनल स्किल असेसमेंट उनके लिए जो कि TR अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं या दे हैव डन मास्टर्स और बैचलर्स इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, TR पर हैं और उन्होंने एक और PR पाथवे लिया हुआ है, नाउ दे वांटेड टू डू अ स्किल असेसमेंट. सो उनके लिए जो है वो प्रोविजनल स्किल असेसमेंट फर्स्ट स्टेज है जो आपको करना होता है. उसके बाद जो सेकंड, थर्ड एंड फोर्थ स्टेज है वो पार्ट 2 है, दैट्स कॉल्ड जॉब रेडी एम्प्लॉयमेंट, जॉब रेडी वर्क असेसमेंट एंड देन जॉब रेडी फाइनल असेसमेंट. उस टाइम पे आपको फुल टाइम एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए, दैट इज मिनिमम 35 आवर्स पर वीक. इफ़ यू डू अ मिनिमम 35 आवर्स पर वीक. और इसके लिए एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट ये चीज़ आपको ध्यान में रखनी है कि आपको अपने एम्प्लॉयर को रजिस्टर ज़रूर कराना है TRA से. बिकॉज आप लास्ट 3 मंथ्स का तो एक्सपीरियंस क्लेम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप लास्ट 3 मंथ्स का क्लेम नहीं करते हैं तो जो भी आपका मिस हो गया वो मिस हो गया. TRA won't be counting that one. So make sure कि आप फॉर्मल रजिस्टर माइग्रेशन एजेंट से एक फॉर्मल कंसल्टेशन लें और ये सारी चीज़ों को समझें. मैंने आज अपने लाइव में ट्राई किया कि मैक्सिमम आपको चीज़ें समझा सकूं. अगर आप खुद इस प्रोसेस को करना चाहते हैं और इफ़ यू रिक्वायर आवर हेल्प, मोर देन हैप्पी टू डू इट. अगेन मैं अपने ऑडियंसेस को या जो मुझे देख रहे हैं, अगर इफ़ दे हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस, फील फ्री टू आस्क नाउ. मोर देन हैप्पी टू गिव द आंसर्स. Otherwise, I'll just wrap up this session in next 5 minutes. एक most important thing, 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍𝐊 consultants have started online PT classes since last couple of months and we have been doing really well. हर दुनिया के हर जगह से लोग हमें ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं for these PT classes. We have great reception और रिजल्ट्स भी अमेजिंग आए हैं. विद इन 3 days 4 days of practice people are getting 7 each, in fact 8 each, and straight 90s भी हमारे recently one of the client के आए हैं. तो कहने का मकसद ये है कि it's going really well. You should, if you are overseas or onshore, if you required to meet the certain requirement of journal skill migration or the skill assessment or for whatever licenses requirement, you should contact Think Higher Consultants for the PT coaching. More than happy to assist. Only we are doing the PT classes for $299. That is unlimited for 1 year. So if you join us, you'll get the unlimited classes for the whole 1 year. Even though no many times you have attempted the PT test, you will have the coaching available for next 1 year, unlimited classes. So you can do the morning classes, you can do evening classes, whatever you want. More than happy. जो हमारे PT coordinator हैं, she's pretty good. She normally gives one-to-one consultation to lots of RPT classes student. So you should join, and we are getting results. So getting results in few days is phenomenal. So we are also studying NATI CCL Urdu. So those who really want to do NATI CCL, even they are from Pakistan, if you grab 8 each or you have done NATI CCL, you get 25 points towards the general skill migration. अभी obviously the immigration जो है वो थोड़ा slow चल रहा है, invitations नहीं आ रहे हैं, लेकिन sooner or later they will open up. If you have 25 points and you have good overseas experience with great skills and all, you can crack 189 or 190 quite easily, or 491. अब आप देखें काफी states जो है वो open भी हो रहे हैं for 491, 190. So this is the right opportunity. All right, so let's wrap up this live session. Thank you so much, audience who have joined us. They have, whoever have asked these questions. If you have anything you later need to ask, put that on the comment section. My team will try to answer your queries as early as possible, or you can email us at applications@thinkhigher.com.au. If you want to speak to a migration agent, book yourself calling to 0435 600 610. We are also open for face-to-face consultation. You can come down to our office as well. We are at level 3105 Queen Street, Melbourne. It's just at the intersection of Queen Street and Little Colin. See, next round, there are lots of things coming for the state sponsorship as well. So I believe if you have any questions and you feel like you meeting the requirement of the TRA or job ready program, come to us. My team can help you out in any of the complex situation. Even if you have refusals from TRA, आपका अगर TRA refuse हो गया है, या first aid provisional skill assessment refuse हो गया है, या कुछ hours आप claim नहीं कर पा रहे हो, या portal update नहीं हो रहा आपका, contact us. I'm more than happy to assist you. My team is pretty, they are trained enough to, cater all the complex, situations. So come to us, more than happy to assist you. So thank you so much once again for joining us. अपना बहुत बहुत ख्याल रखेगा, and inshallah we'll see you next time with another session with more streams for the TRA and other stuff.
Just talking to her parents on Skype and showing concern that she wants to stay in Australia as she's getting really good opportunity to one of the renowned company. She further said that I'm in search of a good consultant and I'll apply TR through them.
Okay, goodbye mom and dad, I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, take care dear.
Jess opens her email as soon as calls finishes and she sees a newsletter from Think Higher Consultants, which says free temporary visa application if you get professional year program through Think Higher. She calls to Think Higher and discuss her situation with their qualified counselor. They explained her the benefits of professional year as well as offered her free temporary visa application. They also explained the checklist for temporary visa as well. Jess was so satisfied that she submitted all her documents online and got her temporary residency visa and professional year application done. Contact Think Higher Consultants for resident return visa. We provide personalized and on-spot services leads to permanent visa pathways and Australian citizenship. Facebook/Think Higher Consultants. Twitter/Think Higher House. Instagram/Think Higher Consultants.